Basketball and werewolves? It must be Halloween because we got a fun movie to talk about today. So, in 1985, Michael J. Fox wasn't just driving a DeLorean at 88 miles per hour. No, sir. He was also turning into a basketball playing werewolf because apparently puberty just isn't awkward enough. Am I right? Today, we're diving into Teen Wolf, a movie where growing body hair and howling at the moon somehow makes you really good at sports. Maybe I needed to try that when I was a kid. Anyway, more about Teen Wolf coming up. Welcome once again to Rob Wright's Gen X Pop Culture. Uh, Today we're talking about Teen Wolf, a great movie from the 80s starring Michael J. Fox. We're going to talk about the background and production of the movie. We're going to get into the plot. We're going to talk about the music. We're going to talk about random facts that you don't know about this movie. And I'll talk about some scenes that I love. Speaking of scenes, let's get my ugly mug off here and let's get some of our slides on here. How about that movie poster? What do you say? Michael J. Fox all the way, right? So yeah, it's just this one's a funny movie. It's kind of underrated in my opinion. It was very popular when it came out, and we're going to talk about that. But since then, it doesn't really get talked about as much as other Michael J. Fox movies, but it's nonetheless one of his best. So let's get into this. So it was directed by Rob Daniel and was released in August 1985, 2 months after Back to the Future. Yeah, they were released around the same time. And guess what, guys? In the box office, they were number one and number two. So Michael J. Fox had two movies in the top 10 at the two top spots for a few weeks when this movie came out. So pretty cool. Pretty awesome for him to have that. It was actually filmed before Marty McFly ever touched a flux capacitor. But since Back to the Future turned Michael J. Fox into the biggest star on the planet, and yes, he was the biggest star on the planet at the time, the studio basically said, quick, throw out that werewolf thing before people realize he's also in this. Kind of funny, huh? Well, the movie was interesting because it only cost about $4 million to make and ended up raking in over $80 million. Yeah, $76 million in profits is pretty good for a movie like this. That's just basically your screwball comedy that barely got made. So pretty interesting. Not bad also, if you consider that it looks like it was sponsored by Halloween Wig Store. And man, you can see the great 80s hair in this movie. We'll see it all over these pictures, especially this one. So let's talk a little bit about the plot and this movie here. The plot falls around Scott Howard. He's your average, a painfully average high school student. He's bad at basketball, can't get the girl, and his best friend, who dresses like a thrift store, exploded on him. And here's Stiles to prove that. Here's another picture of Scott when he starts to turn. Then one day, bam, here you go. His werewolf genes kick in. Instead of hiding in the woods and eating livestock, Scott decides to use his wolf powers for sports, high school basketball. Yes, apparently, the logical response to turning into a mythical creature is to dunk on other teenagers. Pretty cool, huh? I love this scene right here. It shows where he's getting intense in class and having to write on the chalkboard, and all of a sudden his fingernails start growing. As a wolf, Scott suddenly becomes the most popular guy in town. He gets attention, wins basketball games, and even lands the hot girl. But of course, fame goes into his furry little head. Eventually learns the ultimate 80s movie lesson: being yourself is better than being a sweaty dog man. And yes, that's true for dozens of 80s movies here. But yeah, I mean, this movie has a lot of charm. It does have a lot of heart, and I'll tell you that Scott's lesson and what he learns about being famous and being popular as opposed to being himself is a great lesson. It was one of the major themes in a lot of 80s movies, which I really appreciated growing up as a kid. It really gave me confidence and made me feel like I wasn't the only dork in school, that I was still somebody. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's what this movie does, and that's what's so great about it. It really does has a lot of heart. And Michael J. Fox started off with Family Ties, which was a big hit, and he got to film this movie along with Back to the Future because one of his co-stars, Meredith Baxter Brimley, was having her twins, and so they had to take a break on Family Ties, and this allowed him to shoot both Teen Wolf and Back to the Future. So, kind of cool. Let's talk a little bit more about the cast here. Michael J. Fox, obviously, is Scott Howard. Uh, and yes, I told him he was filming Family Ties during the day and Teen Wolf at night, which means he was having no sleep and hairspray fumes. So yeah, he was getting all that. But as I mentioned, eventually they had to take a break during filming of Family Ties and allowed him to finish some of the movie, especially scenes during the daytime. And even with Back to the Future, he was filming some of that in Family Ties at night. And then you see the scenes in the daytime was when Family Ties went on a break. Um, Jerry Levine plays Stiles, Scott's best friend, and human Hawaiian shirt advertisement. And he's hilarious in this. Let me see if I can find some more pictures of Stiles here. Got a lot of the basketball team. There are so many shots in this movie. By the way, folks, do you recognize this house? You should, because guess what? It's George McFly's house. Yes, George McFly's house in Back to the Future. Same house used, same set. Kind of cool, huh? Oh, there's one of Styles. There we go. There's Styles right there. Styles is an unforgettable character, the wild and crazy guy, the guy that wants to first surf on top of the van, which is cool. Styles is the type of guy you love to hang out with as long as you don't tell him near your parents' car or your wallet, because yeah, he's a gambling man. He sells different things. He's always uh, looking for a way to make a fast buck. Uh, Susan Uristi plays Booth, Scott's childhood friend, who's clearly perfect for him. But because this is an 80s movie, he spends most of the film ignoring her for the hot blonde, who's obviously trouble. Um, anyway, we've got a couple shots of Booth. I think back here. Give me a moment. I'll show her real quick to you. There she is, walking with Scott. And I thought she was kind of cute. The funny thing is that the writer really had a friend named Booth. The writer based her name on his childhood friend. So, and Lori Griffin plays the ever so hot Pamela. And we got several shots of her. One particular right here. The classic unattainable crush. And of course, we get Mark Arnold as Mick, the rival basketball jerk who somehow looks like he's pushing 30, but still hanging out in high school gyms. Yes. We've got shots of him somewhere on here too. Yeah, more shot of the Wolfmobile and the surfing. Did you guys ever do this as teenagers? I sure as heck didn't. But then again, it's too dangerous. But you'll see Mick here in a minute. I think there he is. There's Mick. So, and don't forget James Hampton, Scott's dad, Harold, possibly the most chill werewolf dad ever. When Scott first wolfs out, Dad casually strolls in. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention we're werewolves. Don't worry, you still get into college. Actually, that's probably the funniest scene in the whole movie. Is the scene where he starts wolfing out in the bathroom, and it's the scene right here. He's like, Dad, you won't believe it. And he goes, his dad finally talks him into opening the door. He's full werewolf. And he goes, okay, Dad, prepare for. And then he opens the door and his dad's a werewolf too. He's like, why didn't you tell me? Well, sometimes it skips a generation, which I think's awesome and funny. this movie just had it all. Um, the soundtrack's kind of interesting. There's no real, big like top 40 hit, but it's so 80s driven. I mean, Win in the End, Big Bad Wolf, power some of the film's my most iconic moments, especially that high school dance where everybody instantly breaks down into the choreographed routine to Big Bad Wolf. Um, it's just what happens in small town America, right? When a wolf shows up, didn't you all have your dance routines in small town America? Anyway, it didn't have a lot of hits, but you had a lot of crazy fun 80s songs, and it just sounds like an 80s movie when you're watching it and listening to it. They're typical. There's another really crazy song called Way to Go. If you actually listen to the lyrics of that song, that's when he first becomes the wolf and starts playing basketball. And the lyrics are, first my clothes catch on fire, then my car hits a tree. You might think it's a big catastrophe, doesn't mean much to me, which is just weird, unusual lyrics that somehow fit this movie. I don't know why, but anyway, it didn't exactly have the chart topping soundtrack like Back to the Future, who had Huey Lewis hits, but fans still love it. It's cheesy, over the top, and perfect for a movie about a werewolf dunking a basketball, which when you say that out loud kind of just seems weird and awkward, but so 80s and so cheesy and so fun. Anyway, here's some more shots. I love this scene where he's going in to get the keg of beer, and clearly the guy doesn't trust that he's of age. And then his eyes change, and he's, give me a keg of beer. And it scares the living daylights out of the liquor store salesman who sells him the keg of beer. And what's even funnier is they go to the party thinking that they brought the keg and they're heroes, only to find out there are like 5 or 6 kegs already there. Fun stuff. So lots of cool clips in this movie. I adore this movie. I think it's a lot of fun. It's just one of those feel good movies. But let's talk about some quick facts and trivia to impress your friends or scare them. So Michael J. Fox hated the wolf makeup. I can't blame him for that. I mean, it took him hours, and now that you think about it, you know, he kind of does look like Chewbacca in that makeup. Let's get another shot of that. There you go. Doesn't that look like Chewbacca? I think it does. Um, or maybe Chewbacca's shorter cousin. Fox also wasn't exactly a star athlete. Most of the basketball scenes were filmed with a double named Jeff Glozer, which is probably this guy right here, because you can't wolf your way into actually making a free throw. That's true. I do think Michael J. Fox was there for the final couple of free throw shots. It's kind of hard to cut away to him shooting those free throws. I did read where they actually tried to shoot some actual basketball scenes that were not choreographed. And it turns out that that's probably the worst basketball ever played or ever shot on film. And it was cut from the film and not used. And it's somewhere sitting in a warehouse. So kind of funny aside. Um, the movie spawned a sequel, Teen Wolf 2, starring Jason Bateman in his first film role. Unfortunately, it was a less Teen Wolf and more Teen Snooze. Wasn't as good as this. And really, Michael J. Fox didn't want to do a sequel, so that's why they had to find another star. There was also a Saturday morning cartoon and later an MTV reboot, which took the goofy comedy and went full Twilight meets Hot Topic, as MTV might as well do. Gotta love these small town parties. I love this scene here where Stiles tells the girl that, hey, you've got the typical overweight guy as your pick. Here's what you got to do. And he has to eat the whole bowl of jello, and she has to hold it. And he promptly puts it in her shirt, which I thought was hilarious. And so he's chasing her to eat the whole jello. The rumor is true during the final basketball game. If you look in the stands, you'll spot an extra with his pants undone. That's a big Easter egg here. Basically, what it was is a blooper. It's nothing perverted. It was that the person forgot to zip his pants when he made a change in wardrobe, and he was celebrating, and we accidentally caught him with on camera with the zipper down, which is kind of funny um, if you think about it. I mean, and you'll see it right there at the end in the last couple seconds. Um, in the end, Teen Wolf was a ridiculous but lovable slice of 80s cinema. It taught us that puberty might suck, but hey, you could always get super hairy and become good at basketball. It's corny, goofy, and it's got a bit more body hair than a carpet store. But that's exactly why fans love it today and why I love it today. Um, so, hey, if you had werewolf powers in high school, what would you have used them for? Uh, would you been embarrassed? Would you been ashamed? Would you use them for sports? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Also, let's take a look at some more of these slides. The director based his character off of another director that he knew. This is more of the Wolfmobile. Yeah, there's Stiles on the other. I don't know. I don't know if I could ever do that. That's so dangerous. Of course, biting down on the can or the acting. Wolf Buddy. Yeah, so Scott had a ton of different T-shirts. One of the fun things in this movie is to look at all the different T-shirts that Styles has. The bowling scene. Gosh, she was beautiful. She was gorgeous. Yep, and she was totally playing him and Mick. Oh my gosh. Yep, the dressing room scene was great. Scarlett O'Hara or the basketball. I do like this that the principal's after him because the principal had a thing for his mom, and his father scared him away. And the funny thing is that when he first turns into wolf, if you look at where the principal goes over by the stands because he has a little bit of a problem with wolves, and that gets explained by his dad, and then later on when his dad confronts him as well. So this is when he first starts to change. Uh, his elf ears or his Vulcan ears if you like Star Trek. Yep, this is the scene. Give me a keg of beer. So a lot of fun stuff. Yeah, this is him in the bathroom changing. And this, of course, is the ending shot. This is funny where he's getting ready. So, but anyway, that's it for Teen Wolf. What is your favorite scene? What did you like most about this movie? Tell me in the comments below. Everybody have a good time, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.